Hello, welcome to She Boss Talk. I am Shantae Arati. I am coming on with some great news regarding the Targeted EIDL grants through the SBA. We have some great news that we want to share, some important updates as well, and also updates regarding the EIDL loan increases that you all may want to know about as well. Some important information there. So do come on in. I already see some of our followers out there already waiting for us to go live. As you're coming on, just make sure you can hear me, see me. Let me know. We're doing a mic check right now. Let me know who you are, where you're hailing from, and what your business is. I always like to get to know our viewers, especially our new viewers who are new to our channel. Thank you for all of our supporters and subscribers. If you're not subscribed already, do subscribe to our channel. We're above 21,000 now, so we're really excited about that. Do like this, show us some love, hit the love button, right? Give it a thumbs up so more people see this. Share out this video because we know that there are many business owners that have applied to these programs, are still applying for these programs and need help. We want to make sure that you get approved and you get funded so that you have a financial lifeline for yourself and your business. So this is Friday, so I'm going to get right into it. I actually just got finished maybe about an hour ago with a one-on-one consult helping one of our fellow she bosses, and she's a follower of ours as well. She has a great company. She just got her targeted EIDL invite, and she got a little nervous and wanted some one-on-one help. So I just helped her, and so we're excited to see her get approved and funded up to $15,000. Yes, it's possible that you could get funded up to $15,000 through this program. So if you do need one-on-one assistance, the link is in the description. We always provide our resources in the show notes description, and afterwards we pin it to the top of the comments for you all to be able to easily access. So let's get right to the great news. So most of you all, unless you're new, already know that I received, I'm an awardee of the $10,000 targeted EIDL grant. You know, it had been over a year. So for those of you all that are still waiting, going through, I want to let you know I've been where you are. And it took me a year to get here. I fought for this, but I never lost faith. I kept advocating, petitioning, calling, emailing our leaders to make sure that we were able to get access to this funding. There's still more work to do, but I'm finally able to say I got the $10,000 EIDL grant because I didn't get anything. So I didn't even get a partial grant back in 2020. So I have been holding on, and I was had my faith, and it did happen for me. So I was able to get the $10,000 targeted EIDL grant. Very happy about it. I did share it with the community in a post to show like the deposit. That's exciting when you actually can see it, right? You get approved and you can actually see the money in your account and the impact that money is going to have on your business. It's really nothing like it. And so that happened. And then I was, we know that the funding is limited, right? And it's first come, first serve. But the supplemental grant is even more limited criteria, right? So there's only $5 billion available for 1 million businesses. So I was saying to myself, I'm monitoring my emails. I'm like, I haven't seen it. But I know they had started sending out the supplemental grant invitations. And I'm like, okay, where's mine? But like I tell you, to don't ever feel like you can't reach out to the SBA, call them, email them. So I called, and then I followed up with a subsequent email. And then it was followed up with a generic email about the program and that they had made changes, which they did, which I'll get to in a minute with regards to the supplemental grant. But they made some changes and contact information and all that. But my call prompted a subsequent email that gave me the official invite. Okay. So I tell you, I'm very persistent. I will follow up. You have to be you have to take a proactive approach. This is not something when you're talking about funding that you can just be passive and just let the time just fly by, and it's weeks going by, months going by, and you don't have any results. You haven't heard anything. I mean, I'm going to be calm. I give it some time, but then I'm going to be checking in to see what's happening. So that call prompted them to send me my invite. Okay. So I was super excited that I shared it, that I got my invite. So I was super excited. And yes, I dropped everything that I was doing to address the invite and apply, because there's no time to waste. I say all the time, the funding, it can be here today and gone tomorrow. They can say at any time, it's cut off. And I didn't want to be in that. I want to be in the number that can say I got it. Okay. And so that's what I did. So they gave me the invite and I received it. Okay. And so in the invite, it was one question. Okay. One question, because they have all my other information. The question is, do I want to be considered for the supplemental grant? Now, you're probably saying, well, why would they ask you such a question? I say that to myself, like, who wouldn't say yes, right? But they asked before who wanted to target advance, and many people skipped over the button. And therefore didn't qualify because they simply looked over the button, didn't check the button, right? But if they ask you that question, you definitely want to say yes, that you do want to be considered for the $5,000 supplemental grant. So that's what happened. And so within 24 hours, basically in the middle of the night, and it was before I went to bed, so I responded to it. I saw it come through on my phone. They sent me another email saying that my portal was updated. Okay. And so I knew that had something to do with the supplemental grant. So what I did was went into my portal immediately, and it had a prompt for me to submit for processing. Okay. So we talked about that before, and I just actually finished talking about it on my consult call, that many of you all may still be sitting there in processing mode because you have not clicked that submit for processing button. That is what triggers the loan officer to start reviewing your application so that you can get approved. As long as you don't hit that submit for processing button and it's there, you will be waiting. And then you don't want to be waiting and funding runs out. So do definitely check in your portal, or if you don't have a portal, don't know how to access it, follow up with the SBA and just ask them. You'd want to make sure that it's not just something on your end that you have not done that is causing the process to be held up. Okay. You don't have any control over how long it takes them. What you want to make sure is what's in your control. You take care of that. So I clicked the submit for processing button, and then it turned from processing to submitted. So now I know it's actually in process to be reviewed by a loan officer, and now it's just a matter of monitoring how long it's going to take, because people ask me these other questions. That's where when I share these wins, I give you a timetable so you can kind of see what the timeline is from throughout the process. And it's not a standard either. It just gives you some frame of reference because they have not been consistent across the board, right? But I know from the time I got my first deposit of the $10,000 to getting the invite, it was around 17 days. So my understanding, it should only be a few days to get approved. And then we'll see from there how many days, how long it takes me to actually get the deposit into my account. So that is the great news. I'm super excited about that. If you are on here and you've applied for the Targeted EIDL grant, let me know what your status is. Have you been approved? Have you been funded, meaning the deposit is in your account? Have you been denied and going through the reevaluation process? If you are having challenges, please let me know. I'll try to, if you have questions, answer them while I am on live on this video. But let you know that they're still rolling it out. So if you're like, okay, I applied, I'm still waiting on my invite, where is it? Just to remind you, the SBA has been slow to roll out the latest funding because it was funded in two parts. So they got a certain amount in 2020 at the end with that stimulus, and they got billions more added on as part of the American Rescue Plan Act. And so 20 billion have already been allocated, accounted for, funded. And so they're on to this next pile of money, which is moving slowly, but they're ramping it up now. So if you're one of those, again, you had to have applied to the EIDL program on or before December 27th of 2020 to even get an invite. This is invite only. So if you go to the SBA website, there's information on the program, FAQs, program details. But in order to apply, you have to be invited by the SBA. They will invite you by email. Okay, so you can expect an email from the SBA. It will come from one of their emails, but it will always have the extension of sba.gov, not .net, not .org, and not .com or any other. It is always .gov. They will have your application number. So if somebody is contacting you, asking you for your application number, be on alert, okay? Because there's a lot of fraud out there, a lot of small businesses, as I talked about in our fraud video. If you have not checked that out, that is an important video that I think every small business should go check that video out. Small businesses are vulnerable, and there's a lot of people that are taking advantage of small businesses and those that are claiming to be the SBA or some type of association, and they may be phishing for information via text, via email. And even in our comments, people are doing that. So just be conscious of that, be mindful, and do your due diligence in that regard. But people are getting approved. Thank you all so much for sharing your testimonies, your testimonials. So every day I get inquiries about the process. And so I want to make sure that we're keeping you updated as we go along. What I want to do is I will be sharing my screen because I want to share some important information with you. I just reviewed this with my client, and I had another question on it. So I'm going to really quickly I've done this before in another video, but I'm going to do it again in this video because when you're applying for this grant, one of the biggest challenges for people seems to be, and especially sole proprietors, those that may not be necessarily operating as a business, haven't really set themselves up, may still be using personal accounts, not really tracking their sales activities, which you should be tracking all your sales and expenses, okay? And again, we help you with all of this. If you don't have our winning grant application cheat sheet and checklist, I highly recommend you get it. It's a very effective tool to help you get your business in order, position for you to be able to win more grants. You never want to go into these processes and these applications blindly, not knowing what to do and not having your business in order, because you are going up against other people that do have their business in order, and you don't want to be left out because you don't. One of the biggest things in order to qualify, first of all, you have to be in a low income community based on the IRS guidelines. They have a map that they have for you that you can check if you're in a low income community, 300 employees or less, and be able to demonstrate a 30% decrease in gross revenue in a period, right? They will take a quarter or 8-week period in 2020 compared to that same period in 2019. And see if you have a loss in gross sales. This is not W-2 income. This is not unemployment income. This is not even grants. None of that is going to be added. This is before expenses and taxes and insurances, all that. These are your gross sales. What you would see in PayPal, what you would see in your Square account, what you see if you're using Cash App, which I don't recommend, but what you would see in your Cash App or whatever, Venmo or whatever tool you're using for transactions, it should be there. But a lot of people are getting declined on the 30% decrease in gross revenues. And so you may legitimately be declined, or you may be declined just because you didn't know, you didn't calculate appropriately. Okay, so it can run the gamut here. Let me go here, make sure that I'm populating this. Okay, so I'm going to put this, and this is a post that I created on Facebook. I want to make sure that it's on the screen here that you all can see it. There we go. Okay, so you should see a 30% reduction, targeted EIDL grant application. When you go in to apply, this is what you're going to see. So all you new applicants that are applying, you will come to a screen that will tell you to put down the sales you made in your business for every single month in 2019, every single month in 2020, and the month up to this month in 2021. Okay. And when you do that, you can calculate for yourself. So you want to plot out the numbers first. What were the sales in each month? What the loan officer is going to do when you submit this, they're going to look and they're going to do, you see those arrows, they're going to compare, right? So you see it's like all 1,000. So there was no increase, there was no decrease. It was just even across the board. What they're going to be looking at is, so say taking January, you made maybe you made $1,000, and in 2020 you made $500. That's a 50% decrease if you made only $500. Say in February in 2019 you made $10,000. And in February of 2020, because of the pandemic, you only brought in $5,000. You can see that that's a 50%, which means that it meets the 50% threshold for supplemental grant, and it meets the 30% threshold for the grant up to $10,000. That's what they're going to be looking at for every single line that they're comparing and looking for that 8-week block that you can demonstrate. So it's not based on the annual number, because like myself, in second quarter, I was hardest hit, but I actually made more in 2020 than I did in 2019. Okay. So they're not judging me on the whole year, because I clearly showed I made a lot of money. Okay. At the end, especially at the end of 2020. It's the second quarter that I was hardest hit. So that's what you'll need to look at even for yourself once you plot out your numbers. And it's good, period, for your business to be able to see where you are. So for a lot of you all, this is the first time you're actually even plotting out your numbers and being able to look at it like this from this viewpoint and doing this comparison. This can really, again, help you in your business as far as your strategy in your business going forward, and your pivot strategy, your marketing strategy, or your sales strategy. This can be helpful in that regard as well. So they're going to be looking at that and comparing an 8-week period. All you need to do is meet that 1 8-week period to be able to then qualify for the grant. Okay. So I hope that is clear for everyone, because this is exactly what it's going to look like. I get this question every single day. Somebody is in my inbox asking about this form and how to fill this out, where to get the numbers. These are not numbers you make up. These are numbers that you should have in your accounting system. And if you're not using an accounting system like QuickBooks, again, the PayPal, Square, Stripe, whatever you're using, you should still be able to go back into their pool reports to be able to know what you made in any given period of time, how much you made. And so not only will they be looking at that, but then they will compare it to your tax return. Okay. They will compare it to your 2019 tax return. So if you didn't make if there was no change, right? And so for some people, they made a lot in 2020. They didn't have a decrease, and that's okay. That's great. That's a blessing, because this is for people that actually had a loss. So don't feel bad about if you did great in 2020. Congratulations. Okay. So then they're going to compare it to your 2019 tax return, right? Your other financial statements that you have available, to make that comparison and see if there was actually a loss, make sure and see if it was actually a legitimate business. This is the process that they are going to go through to determine if you qualify for the grant or not. And then again, to subsequently to see if you qualify for the supplemental grant, which again, now it's a higher now you have to have had a 50% greater loss. So I was able to demonstrate both. Okay. That's just how it worked out. My second quarter, I was hit. I barely made any money in the second quarter. Okay. So I was clearly able to demonstrate it, pull my profit and loss statements, and just plugged in the numbers and let the process play itself out. Okay. And so had they come back and said I was denied, then best believe I would have gone through the reevaluation process, because I knew how to calculate. I know the numbers. So if they came back talking about it, saying it was a denial, I would have submitted a reevaluation, and with proof that, I met the criteria to be able to get the grant amount. So I hope that makes sense for everybody. Likewise, they would ask you for your 4506T form. This is to allow them to request your tax returns from the IRS. And if they cannot, if they request them and it comes back error zero, they're going to deny you. They cannot verify your tax returns because but I don't know how, but people do. They falsify tax. They're falsify tax returns. Okay, so this is one of those controls they have in place to detect fraud. They didn't have this. This was not in place when they first rolled out the CARES Act. It was just we needed this emergency money. We need to get it out the door. So many people took advantage of that fraudulently. Some intentional, some not intentional. But because they didn't put this in place, a lot of people slipped through the cracks. This is catching a lot of those people that apply that shouldn't have got money, okay, and preventing them from getting ahead, whether it getting the grant or getting an increase in the loan, depending on the program, because they don't qualify, right? So that's where we are. So again, if you have received the grant, congratulations to you. If you're still in the process, stay the course. Just keep following up and monitoring your progress all the way through. If you're denied, do request that the reevaluation. I do want to share my screen again because with this program, the EIDL program, they put out different reports. So I'm going to share the latest report with you so you can see the numbers again for all of you all, and you can see kind of how slow it is. So, right, they have billions available. It can go very quickly, but we can see how slow the rollout, because I know they're rolling out other programs as well. But let me share my screen really quick here. And this is the SBA Disaster Assistance Update, National Economic Injury Disaster Loan, COVID-19 data. So you should now see this on the screen that I'm sharing here. And I'm just going to walk through this. You can pull this information. Again, this is the EIDL report. You can actually Google that in. It'll take you here. It'll take you to the area on the SBA website. You can actually pull other types of reports, including reports on the Paycheck Protection Program. All of the information and data, because somebody asked me the other day, is public information. So if you're funded in these programs, anybody, including you, can search you and find and see if you were a recipient, have access to know if you were a recipient and how much you received and where you're located. Again, all of this is public information. It is not private. So for those that have that question, hopefully that answers it for you. So you can see the latest report was generated on May 13th. And you can see in this period, right, targeted advances funded is only 103, right? A little bit over 103, just short of 104,000. The amount funded is a little over 855 million that has been funded in this program. Like, I'm in Ohio, so you can even see it gives you breakdowns numbers by state. So I am in Ohio here, and we can see like the breakdown. So a little over 2,000 have been funded here, and it even gives you the dollars, right? So a little bit over 18 million have been funded in the state of Ohio. So this just shows, because it's billions of dollars. So look at about 20 billion. So they have in this period is shy of $1 billion. So again, they're ramping this up. There's more of you all that are out there to be funded. So I think it's important for you to see this, to see the progress, know that, okay, they're still sending out invites for the first round. They're still sending out invites for the supplemental grant. So if you have not gotten yours yet, you stay tuned, right? They even break it down by region, right? So I'm in region 5, and region 5, we can see 12,000, a little bit over 12,000 have been funded here, and it tells you the amount as well. And it also is giving us data on the supplemental targeted advance. So they just started rolling out the supplemental targeted advance maybe about 2 weeks ago. And so we know that there's 5 billion available. So right now, across the United States, only 11,866 businesses have been funded for a total of a little bit over $59 million. And again, it gives the breakdown by state. And we can see in Ohio, as of the 13th, as far as the supplemental grant, only 247 have been funded for about 1.2 million dollars in funding. So this just gives you a breakdown again, and regionally as well. Ohio is about 1,300, and they funded about 6 million. And this is across the region that they're giving a breakdown. So again, I will also after this live, I will leave this in the comments as well, so you could take a more deeper look at it. At the top is giving information on the loans. So we know today they funded a lot of loans. So over $207 billion, just shy of 4 million loans that have been approved. Again, it gives the deep detail about the loans that have been approved through the program. So again, this is very useful information for you small businesses out there. So I encourage you to use it as you need it as well. Now, before I close out, I want to go over some information about the loan increases, because I know if you've been funded an EIDL loan, let me know. And if you have applied for the increase. So we know that the SBA started inviting those that were funded to get an increase in your loan amount, because they increased the cap. So they increased the cap from 6 months of working capital to 24 months, and from 150,000 to 500,000. So a lot of you all have been applying to get an increase in your funding. But there have been some denials. Okay, so don't assume because you apply for an increase that it's going to be an automatic approval. But again, if you're denied, there is a reconsideration process that you can go through to get past that denial to be able to get approved for your increase of funding. But there's two reasons for the denial that I want to address. One keeps coming up. Comes up whether you're going for the grant, this program or another program, is the bank account situation. Because we know that specifically for these types of programs, this one in PPP is open to those that are not in non-traditional businesses, that are not incorporated, right? That are not using business bank accounts, although they should, right? This is really impacting those types of businesses that have applied for these programs, and now you're trying to get funding and you don't have a correct bank account. So some examples of these bank accounts, these apps, Cash App is not a bank account, nor is PayPal. Chime is an online account, but banks like Chime, GoBank, if you're with GoBank, Chime, any of these types of banks, these are not business accounts. These are not traditional banks. I encourage you to you can keep these accounts, but when applying for grants and other type of funding that are business related coming from the SBA, to avoid issues, to make sure you get your money and get it promptly and don't get declined, because something like this can cause you to get declined and not get your money, because the SBA is only going to go back and forth so many times to get you money when they told you in the beginning to make sure you had a proper account. But they're rejecting, they're starting again, they've done this in other programs, but rejecting deposits for these types of accounts. So what they may have you do is change your account, which means you'll need to get a traditional account. And they may, if they give you an opportunity to do it and you haven't updated it, you may get a decline, a notification, but it will say it's related to your banking information. So that's what you would need to do, is you would need to go get a traditional bank account, set that up, and then update your bank account information so they can deposit your money. You don't want to give them any reason to deny you or to hold up the process when you need money for your business to survive. But is the bank account issue continues to come up. So we know it's a chronic problem for a lot of you entrepreneurs out there that are still using your personal accounts. If any funds you get, payments you receive that are non-W-2, is considered business income, right? And I know some of you are adamant that, you don't need a business bank account and all this, and you'll keep it personal. For tax purposes, for grants of getting funding, it is, again, I encourage you to separate your business and personal, okay? And you need to get a business account. So at minimum, get a traditional a bank account, because this may be a problem for you. If you find this problem, those are the steps you take to be able to overcome that denial. The other thing is that I referenced the 4506T when I was talking about the grants. It's also a requirement for the loan. Now, again, this is a fraud detector tool that was not originally used, but is now being used. So now what is happening, when they submit that, it may not come back as zeros. Here's the thing. Now, I found this out as well. Some people intentionally frauded, but some people did not, because you listening to your friends, right, that's out there telling you it's free money out here, and you just applying, and you haven't read the requirements, and you're signing up for money that you're not even entitled to. That's going to be a problem. So while you're trying to get a grant and an increase, then they didn't caught you and determined that you didn't qualify for the money you got in the first place. And so this is really true. They sending the 4506T, your tax return is coming back, but guess what? It's coming back that the only income on your tax return is W-2 income, employee income. This is for businesses. This program, the PPP program, and any other, this SBA, the SBA is the Small Business Administration. They only deal in small business, not employees. So there's some of you out there that you apply for the program as a business and you have no business income, meaning you didn't fill out a Schedule C. All that's on your tax return is W-2. You are employee of someone else's business, and that's your income that you use to apply for the program. That is called fraud. Again, whether it's intentional or unintentional, is fraud, because you receive money that you should not have received, which means you should go back, if that is you, to the fraud video on ways that you can rectify that. And I would highly recommend you do it quickly. If you find out at any point that you receive money you're not entitled to, I would be proactive. Don't wait for them to come, the feds come knocking on your door. I will return that money. Or if you got more than you were entitled to, give back the money that you were not entitled to get. But those are coming back. So now you're requesting an increase, and it's coming back that you don't have any business income. Or this is another thing. When people lie, it's hard to keep up with lies and schemes. Again, I'm not saying that's what everybody is doing, but know that the SBA is looking at the different types of things. So then another thing that is happening is that they're looking at the variance. How much are you off from what you previously reported? This is the grant and loan. And if it's over a certain variance, you're going to be denied, because it's showing. So if you reported you had $100,000 in income, then you come back and you change it to 60,000, that's a red flag to them. So if you before got paid, you got money, a loan based on 100,000, and your income was only 60,000, you were never entitled to the income based on the 100. And so now you already got the 100. Now you don't qualify for the increase because you're already at the max or over. Hope that makes sense. Let me know out there if that makes sense to you guys. Let me know if that makes sense. These are important things, because, getting funding from the federal government is serious business. This is not to be taken lightly. This is not just free money that's just out there. There is a cost to it. There's things that you have to do. You have to give up information about your business. It's public information. It's transparent. It's not anything you have to be afraid of. But surely, if you hiring people, and a lot of you all are, you're paying people thousands of dollars, these fly-by-night people, they're fudging your numbers. You don't know what information they're putting out there, and then they leave. They already have their money. So it's when the SBA, IRS, or the OIG comes to you, they're coming back to you as the business owner. That person is long gone. You are ultimately responsible and accountable as the small business owner for the applications you submit, and for the funding that you get, and for following the rules and the guidelines for all of these programs. So when you are filling out these applications and you go through the different certifications and they say check yes, check no, did you do this, are you part of this, and they're checking to see if you qualify. They're relying on you to have integrity and tell the truth. And then when you sign on the dotted line and you submit it, it is now a legal document. So you're held account to that. And we've seen many people have been arrested, charged, and imprisoned for, making false statements. And then it's a domino effect. So I said in the fraud video, I go over like 5 to 6 different charges that they can give you one behind the other, because it's a domino effect, right? So now, you falsified information or you told a lie. Then you got incorrect funds. You made a banking transaction. That's fraud. Then you made a wire transaction. That's wire fraud. Then you lied on an SBA application. That's SBA fraud. All of these are separate penalties that have set a threshold of penalties that you have to account for each instance. So there's nothing to play with. And I don't care if you got 5,000 or 10,000. If somebody's telling you, oh, it's not $1 million, $2 million, they're not coming after you. That is not right. That is not accurate. I've seen people get penalized and get charged for $20,000. And not only will you have to pay that money back, you will be charged penalties and fines and up to imprisonment. So I say this, and I will continue to say it, so you all take it seriously. And those that come to me talking about your family, your friends, let them know, share the videos with them. This is serious stuff. If they just think they could just get away with it, and that is not going to, at some point, they're going to get in trouble for it. So, but with that said, some of you are being taken advantage of and you have no clue. And you won't even know until you go back and maybe look at something that's happening, or somebody else, the SBA or someone else, contacts you saying, wait a minute, there's a discrepancy here. And you had no clue what they were reporting. Okay, so just be mindful of that. These are some of the denials. And I said before, some of you all, you're already under investigation and you don't even know it. And you're wondering, okay, why am I stuck in this process? Why haven't I heard anything back? They may or may not contact you and say you're under investigation. You're just under investigation until they complete their investigation, determine either, it is or it is not fraud, or they contact you to, for next steps. But a lot of people are out there, businesses that are out there that are stuck because you're under investigation. Okay. So I think it's important to note this, because it's not just, oh, nothing is happening with my application. There's usually a reason. So that's why I said, continue to monitor, but follow up with the SBA. If it's been a couple weeks, follow up, just ask them, is there anything, wrong on your end? But if you know out the bat that you lied, you got money you weren't entitled to, don't expect the increase and don't expect the grant, because most likely you're not going to get it. Okay. So with that said, I think that's a positive note, because I'm saving some people. I don't want business owners we're here to help build wealth and legacy. I don't want people going to jail. Right? And why do that? You don't have to even lie. There's money, billions out here for us with whatever you have, wherever you are in your business, however you're making right now. I mean, why rely on scams and schemes where you can get this money? Like, we've given you all the tools. We've made it so easy. I mean, we have a cheat sheet. We have a tracker that lists grants and pitch competitions that you can apply for. There's money in your local area that a lot of you all are missing out on. Congratulations to you all that are taking action. Like, I love the fact that you all do everything I say, you would do it verbatim. You would drop what you're doing and you get that notification, which you should. Because, if you don't drop what you're doing, you say, okay, I get to that later, and you forget. It happens all the time. You forget, and now you missed out on a $20,000, $50,000 grant. Now, for me, that's a priority for me to get money. And now if it's a priority for you, let me know in the comments. Let me know. You have to make getting money a priority, but there's a right way to do it, a legal way to do it. Myself and many of my peers. Thank you, Susan Sayer, for your super sticker. Thank you so much. Thank you. But many of us have done it, and we've done it the right way. Like, if we have the blueprint, why not get the blueprint? Let's get off the struggle bus. Let's use the blueprints that are out there. That's why I put all the work in to help you all overcome these challenges. We've done the masterclass. We've given you cheat sheets. We have the tracker. We have so many great tools and resources for you. There's no excuse. It's not even an excuse to say you don't have money to do what you need in your business, because you're getting a grant. That's what the grant for. You get the grant. Now you can reinvest in your business to get what you need to be able to grow your business. That's how it works. The money is out here and available for you all to get. So I just encourage you to go get it. Not only, and even, for a lot of you all, credit is a big challenge for a lot of business owners. You can't like walk into a bank with less than a 700 credit score. I'm even working now with the company. We just introduced a new program. So if you can't get EIDL, there's other alternatives. If you can't go into a bank, we're going to teach you how to become more bankable. But if you don't have that credit score, and I know a lot of you all need funding, right? You need a loan. Your only thing is you don't have the credit score. Well, now we have a product, Bank Breezy, that you only need a 450 credit score to be able to get funding for your business. So use us as a resource to get whatever it is that you need for your business. If I can't provide the solution, I'm always the solution, because I will connect you to the solution. So we have a vast network, well-vetted professionals that are on top of their game. They're trustworthy. They provide a quality service, and they're going to help you get results. Because we don't just refer anybody, because that comes back to me. That's my reputation on the line, and I want all of you all to succeed. So I'm very careful about who I recommend to my audience, to my family, right? So that's that. Okay. So I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope you're going to benefit from this video. Again, do share it out. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. This is the weekend, so I hope you all have great plans for the weekend. And I hope that includes making getting money a priority for you and your business. Continue to be the boss with amplified impact, and continue to stay safe and in good health. Have a wonderful day.